Hello and welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to talk about Galina. Now she is, as I remember, she's a cephalid, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. She is obviously from Invasion, and the deck is built. Her ability is quite beautiful, actually. Now she has 5 mana for a 1/3, so you're not winning through any of your commander damage. It is very possible that you can win with other people's commander, since she does, steal legends, which is really cool because it doesn't require her to stay tapped. So every turn, it's blue tap, you just steal it, and it's mine. I'm going to take your Gaia's Cradle. I'm going to take your Sarah Sanctum, your General, your whatever. Urborg doesn't really matter to us. Well, it actually doesn't really matter who controls it anyway. But anyway, I built the deck based around that ability. And the movie scene that keeps going through my mind is that from Finding Nemo, where you got all of the, what are they, pelicans? Mine. So before we get to that, let's roll through some artifacts real quick. My amazing card drawing engine, of course, is Otherworld Atlas. It's slow, but you can actually control it. I don't have a lot of proliferate. By the way, Otherworld Atlas is amazing in the Atraxa deck. Tested it out, and it is quite fun. We have Helm of Possession. Now, as y'all are reading the card, I'm going to tell you the little backstory behind Helm of Possession. Stop me if I already have. I say that. How the hell are you going to... Anyway. Helm of Possession was originally supposed to be the Mindslaver, but at the time that they were building Tempest, the Mindslaver ability, they could not find a way to make it work within the rules of the game, so it came to this. Now, I like this because it has the potential of creature removal, because you can use Galina to steal a creature, or to steal their legend, or steal their legend, and you can use this to steal and sack one to steal the other, and it's amazing. You can just take the dudes and sack them, and I have Crown of the Ages. There's quite a few enchantments in here that say gain control of target thing, and the Crown of Ages, it never fails. As soon as you do it, something better, you like better, comes out. So hey, Crown of Ages, you can just move that joker around, move that enchantment to whatever you want to. Skull of Orm lets us actually get the enchantments back. Now, Proteus Staff is a ton of fun because once you've stolen their creature, you can activate the Proteus Staff and put your stolen creature that you control on the bottom of their library, and then you flip to you get a creature, which is kind of neat. It's kind of neat interaction. Now, the rest of this is just sheer hardcore mana rocks. It's I'm running a little more mana rocks than I normally do in a mono blue deck because of one of my creatures we'll get to later. Let's look at some instants here. Enchantment Alteration. I'm using the Saga art instead of the the original art. Essentially, it's a one-shot to move the enchantment. Grip of Phyresis to steal equipment, because, this card exists. I guess that's why. Reigns of Power. Trade all my dudes for your dudes till the end of turn, but it always is going to happen where your dudes are better or more than mine. Really kind of like Dominate. It is an X spell. I mean, it's X and 3 to steal a dude, so it can get a little pricey. Good thing we got some Ray of Command. I think they've color shifted this exclusively now to red, just to borrow a creature for the turn. So it's red now. Auragraft, which is really neat, because there are times when this would have actually, and you're in dire straits when you're like, oh man, if this card in my hand was only an Auragraft. What? But anyway, and since we're stealing things, we might as well steal their card draws. Now, 4 mana instant. Plagiarize does not get a lot of love, but this is a trump card for me. There are, in any table of 4 or 5 players, you're always going to have people who do the Wheel of Fortune effects or the Time Twister effects that just says, hey, or even Prosperity, everybody draws a bunch of cards. Well, how about I draw your cards and my cards? You just pick the one person who's been, whatever, and you're going to draw their cards this turn. And since we're doing that, we might as well steal their creatures as they come into play. Now, granted, it has happened one time in my life that I have actually cast Gather Specimens when someone cast a Storm Herd. It'll probably never happen again. I've had the Gather Specimens in the hand, and the mana untapped, and it's a 6 mana instant. You're keeping a whole lot open just for this. But in that instant, man, it was a beautiful thing. And I'm running Deflection. I'm running Deflection not because it is maybe of all the cards that have this type of ability, this may be the highest costing one. It may be the worst version, but this was the first. When Ice Age came out, believe it or not, there was a day and time this card was $15. When it was in Type 2, which is now called Standard. This card was amazing, and we were honestly scared to get 4 of them because it was so good that we knew it was going to get restricted. Because back then they restricted cards in Type 2. Yeah. So, we're going to go to Time Reversal, like I said. That's a real thing. Govern the Guildless. You're stealing a mono creature, a monocolor creature. That forecast ability I don't really care about. But it is a little expensive, a 6 mana sorcery for a single color creature. So, which, by the way, it cannot steal a true artifact creature because it has no color. So, it's got to be one of the 5. Washout just is the bounce of God for the color of your choice. Stolen Goods. What are we going to steal here? Oh, we're going to steal cards until you hit a non-land card. It's just straight from the library, so that's cool. Legion of Main. Knowledge Exploitation. Telement Performance. Straight from the deck. Flow of Ideas is just because, hey, we need some card draw, and we are in mono blue, and this remarkably looks a lot like 6 mana for 6 cards. A lot of the time it is, or better. Now, all those enchantments I was telling you about, we have Abduction, steals a creature. Mere Mockery isn't exactly stealing a creature. However, when the creature attacks, you get a token that's a copy of it. There are a lot of good uses. I just went blank, to be honest with you. I can't. Okay. We're going to see how this one plays. Judgment reserved to later on. Persuasion. Steal a creature. Confiscate. Steal target planeswalker. I'm sorry. That's what it says to me. We have enough things that steal creatures. This Sun Gun, I use it most of the time to steal walkers. That's what I do. Hey, you work for me now. Control Magic. I love the original art, but I'm using this one, frankly, because it was the one at my fingertips. I mean, I've got a bunch of the others, but anyway. Volition Reigns, which I probably botched that pronunciation, but oh well. Biting Tether. We're just stealing all kinds of stuff. Corrupted Conscience. Man, if you can steal somebody's general and give it Infect, those just sickly big guys that are just, and give it wow. Binding Grasp. Yeah, we're digging deep into the well here. Because you got to pay 2 mana. It increases the toughness by 1, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but, hey. Mind Control. Steal Enchantment. Boy, all the good names are taken. Like, when you say, I'm going to cast Steal Enchantment, nobody really has to ask what that card does. Spirit Away. 7 mana, but it steals it. makes it fly, gets it bigger. Legacy's Allure, of course, that's been a staple for a while. Annex to steal the land if they do have a, oh my god, Homeward Path. Oh. Homeward Path is this deck's bane, by the way. Enchant land. Discard a card to gain control of a creature till end of turn. And Planeswalker's Mischief. Now it's 4 mana. You're ditching a card at random if it's an instant or sorcery. Exile it. As long as it's exiled, you can play it as if it were in your hand. X is mana cost, X is 0. Owner's hand. You can actually steal cards straight out of their hand. Now, the problem is, you better hope that you got the color mana, because we pretty much have blue and colorless. No. Yeah, we have blue and colorless. Which, by the way, I thought, I'm going to show off one of the non-basic lands here. Maze of Shadows. I threw this in here. I might only be using these in like single color decks because, you know, once you get to 3-4 colors, you need all your lands to matter for fixing. But in single color, sure, you can get a colorless land like this. And it's a Maze of Ith for shadow creatures. Granted, in black is probably the best version of it. In a mono black deck, because you've got Dalthy Embrace that you can actually just pass out the shadow ability, which is beautiful for politics, and it's beautiful for if you've got this. Anyway, just want to show you the Maze of Shadows. We have Overtaker. By the way, this was a pre-release card from Mercadian Mask, and it was horrible. This is horrible. You gave everybody in the room one of these, and none of them. This may be the first Overtaker I've ever seen actually see a deck, because it's bad. 4 mana. Well, first off, it's a 2 mana 1/1, and this guy's got to live a full turn. 4 mana, tap him, discard a card to steal it for a turn. What? Yeah. Thank you, Wizards, for getting better. Djinn. I really like this. Really like this a lot. Because one of them doesn't have to be yours. Here again, this is a very political card. You can, 2 of your opponents, you know, if you've got one guy who's picking on another guy, you can turn the tables on them pretty quick. Rootwater Matriarch. Enchantments or auras are a little more common in EDH in any other format because, you know, we've got some pretty ridiculous ones from way back. The Click. Here again, you can play it. Hope you got the color. Royal Elemental. I mean, now we're talking. Simic Manipulator. Perplexing Chimera. Beguiler of Wills. Number of creatures you control. She is not, I mean, she is a 5 mana 1/1. Yeah, she's pretty bad. Chancellor of Spires. Instant or sorcery from their yard, and you can play it for the free. Thank you, finally, for the free. You're paying 7 mana. You need it for the free. Thada Adele, which, here again, I pronounced that wrong forever. I pronounced her Thalia forever until we got a Thalia, and then I was like, but wasn't that the... Okay. We got a Hypnotic Siren, which is a 7 mana cost aura. I don't care that it's a 7 mana cost aura. We have Soul Caesar, Magus of the Unseen to borrow some artifacts for a turn. We have Dominating Licit. And if you want to get really, really into some rules, man, to go to the Gather and look at the Oracle text on any of the Licits, I mean, it used to be super complicated, but this one, I don't understand it. It just turns it off and on. I think the Licits were the precursor for the enchantment creatures that are auras, you know. Had to have one to have the other. And remember all that artifact mana that I showed you? Yeah, I kind of had to. Mimnarch, he's a real thing, and lots of artifact mana. I didn't put in an unwinding clock though. I mean, I have the clocks to put in, but I just didn't want to go that far because it's all about stealing. But it seems like if you've got the Mimnarch out there and Mimnarch's unanswered, it doesn't matter who your general is. You are now playing Mimnarch. Anyway, that's what I've got. I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, it's time to shuffle and cut.